Have you ever been in a workout program, things are going really well, you're feeling on top of it, and then something happens? Your wrists hurt and you can't do certain exercises. Your knees hurt, your ankles hurt. Something is falling apart just when you've been doing so well. If that sounds like you, never fear, because when it comes to an exercise, there's a modification for everything, and I absolutely love it. I'm Alicia Jones from Alicia Jones Healthy Living, and for over 15 years, I've helped transform the health and lives of women over 50 through fitness and weight loss strategies. And today, we are talking about how to modify, not eliminate, those push-ups and planks. In this video, we are going to talk about exactly how you can modify your push-ups and planks, but it's only one piece of the puzzle. You have to make sure that you're stretching and strengthening, rehabilitating your wrists and your hands in order for the workout, for those planks and push-ups to become easier and pain-free over time. That way you can use these modifications as a bridge until you're strong and powerful and pain-free, and then slowly but surely you can go back to doing those push-ups and planks without the modifications. And if you missed it, I also created a video that shares exactly how you can start to rehabilitate your wrists. If you haven't seen that video yet, stay tuned. At the end of this video, I'll share it with you again. Okay, so without further ado, here we go. The 3 ways that you can modify your plank and push-up are through elevation, neutral position, and support. Elevation. With elevation, you are literally going to elevate your body, so you're doing your plank or your push-up position in a higher up elevation. When you do planks on the ground or push-ups on the ground, there is a lot of pressure and a lot of force on the wrist joint. This is great if you have flexibility in all of your extensor muscles and in all of your flexor muscles. But lots of times we get tight. We get tight because of driving. We get tight because of typing. We get tight because we high five. These muscles are constantly being used, so they become tight but weak. That means that when you are putting your full body weight on the ground with your push-ups, it compresses into the joint because there's not enough strength or flexibility to take on the load. So the higher you elevate your body, the easier the exercise will be. The load will be less on your actual joint. First and foremost, you want to make sure that you're in proper position when you're doing this. I can't tell you how many times people say that they've decided to do an elevated plank, but they still feel wrist pain. But meanwhile, their wrists are way out here, or they're way in here. And that just creates more compression and more load on the wrist joint. When you're doing the movement, make sure that your hand is completely underneath the shoulder. Your wrist is equal to shoulder each and every time. If you've elevated your body and you are still feeling a lot of pain, then it's time to go into the neutral position. So if elevation doesn't help all too much, then it's not the actual load that's creating the issue. It has more to do with your flexibility, both in your flexors, they need to be flexible, and in your extensors in here. A lot of times what happens is the muscles in the back of your arm tend to get really, really weak, and they're over flexible, where the muscles in the back of the hand, they get really, really tight and overused. So even when you're placing your hands on the ground, it's actually the movement being in this position, the flexibility of having your fingers out and your wrist completely underneath your shoulder that creates the tightness. So until you've worked on the flexibility and the strength in these muscles, you want to create a neutral position. The best way to do this is still keeping that elevation, so you're already covering your base by having the load less on your wrists. But then you're going to place something like a rolled up mat or a tea towel underneath your palms. Place your palms on the rolled up mat and allow your fingers to come off of the mat. Make sure that your fingers are completely extended out, nice and flat, and then from here, you're gonna try doing your push-up. You might need to have a higher or lower mat or towel rolled up so that it changes your angle. you're looking for a neutral position. So you want your wrist to be nice and straight here when you're doing your push-up and your plank. Your wrist no longer compresses down in hyperextension or in extension, and instead you're creating a neutral wrist. But let's say you're feeling a little bit of the pain still, especially around that pinky finger. If this sounds like you, you are not alone. The most common reason is tightness on the ulnar side or the pinky finger side. This tightness may compress the joint and create a weak, unhealthy joint position at the wrist. And without even realizing it, you have been doing all of your other exercises in this position with your hand gently turned to the side like this, including your push-ups, which then creates a lot of compression in here. So it is so important for you to do strengthening and stretching exercises so you can start to strengthen all of the muscles that support the joint and create more of that natural, neutral alignment that's going to help alleviate all of the pressure that the joint is taking on and allow the outside structures to help. But of course, we're not talking about how you can do the strengthening exercises. That's for that other video. For now, what you might need to do is give your wrists more support in this neutral position. So when you don't have the support now, you're going to need to create it from an external factor. The way to do that is through taping of your wrists, either using kickboxing tapes. You can also use kinesiology tape, or you can buy gloves that are higher up that are meant to help with wrist support. These will help tighten around the ulnar and radial area into the joints here that will allow you to keep that neutral position. It alleviates the pressure that your muscles will eventually do for you. It alleviates the pressure on the nerve, and it allows for you to continue the exercise. Okay, so once again, you are going to elevate, you're going to create a neutral position, and then you are going to add support if still needed. And for all of those exercises to help stretch and strengthen so that you remain pain-free in the future, you can follow the video here. For more motivational fitness and nutrition tips to make your 50s and beyond the healthiest and most vibrant years of your life, visit AliciaJonesHealthyLiving.com. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel.